In this video, we're going to construct an amortization schedule for a $1,000 debt. And we're going to use Excel to do this, but before we get to the spreadsheet, we need to calculate the payment. So we're going to use this formula that's given here in step number 1. So doing the calculations for this, we start out with our payment is equal to the present value of $1,000. Now we want to note that the interest rate here is not compounded monthly. It is already switched to the monthly amount. So I don't need to divide that by 12. I can just substitute that value for I in the denominator. 1 minus, I'm going to do the math inside the parentheses right in my head here, so that's a little bit easier to put in my calculator. And then the n is the number of times, and we're to have this in 6 each equal payments. So all of that, there we go, is in the denominator. Now I'm going to put this in my calculator. I suggest that you do the same, so I suggest you pause the video, make sure that you get the same number that I do for the payment. So when I put that in my calculator, I'm going to round that to the nearest cent so that it would actually be a payment, and I get $174.03 as the payment value. So I'm just going to make note of that over here. So the payment is equal to $174.03. Now once I have this step done, I'm ready to go to the spreadsheet. So the first thing I'm going to do in my Excel spreadsheet is type the headings, and I'm using the headings right out of our textbook, and they are on page 158. So the first heading is payment number, and then I can use my tab key to go to the next cell. The next is the payment amount, then we'd like to know the interest, and then we'd like to know the unpaid balance reduction, and finally the unpaid balance. Now you'll notice that my headings don't really fit into the predetermined box sizes here in Excel. So if I go up here to the top, this little thing will give me text wrap. You can see when I hover there. So I'm just going to click on that. Oops. Let me click on this row first and then click on text wrap, and there you see that it just makes those cells bigger so that my total title fits there, and it's a little bit nicer to work with. So payment numbers, I always want to start with 0 so that I can show my beginning balance, and then I'm just going to hit enter, and we're doing 6 equal payments, so put through 6 there. With an annuity, I always pay at the end of the month, so my first payment is going to be right here in this second row, and my payment amount is $174.03. And we want all of our payments to be equal, so I'm just going to take the box here and drag that down so that all my payments are equal. Now, my initial unpaid balance is the total loan, so I'm going to put that amount in there, and that is $1,000. So I have the pieces that I know. From here I'm going to start using formulas. So you'll see number 3 over here says complete the columns, the interest formula. So we'll start here with the interest formula. To type a formula, we're going to start by typing equals. And our interest rate was already per month, so 0.0125, and then use the asterisk for times, and that's times the balance. So I'm going to click on the cell to get that, and then hit enter. So that calculates the amount for me. I'm going to click back on that, use the little box in the corner, drag it the whole way down. There's zeros at the moment, but that's because we haven't filled in all of the balances. Next, I want to calculate the balance reduction. And so again, I'm going to type a formula, start with the equals. I have my formula over here. So this is to take the payment and subtract out the interest. So I take the payment by clicking on it, hit my subtraction sign, and then I click on the interest to subtract that and hit enter. Again, I want that formula the whole way down, so I click on it, click on the box, pull that the whole way down. Finally, I want my unpaid balance. So in order to find my unpaid balance, I use the formula that's given. So I type equals unpaid balance. So I click on the balance cell, and then I'm going to subtract the unpaid balance reduction. And again, I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to pull that number the whole way down through. Now, I want to clean things up a little bit, so I'm going to select all of these columns right here, and then I'm going to right-click, click Format Cells, and I'm going to format them as currency with 2 decimal places, and click OK. So that makes them all look like money, which is what we want. And I'll notice here at the very bottom that I did not get to an ending balance of 0, and that oftentimes happens. And so what we need to do is to pay, in this case, 2 extra cents. So I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to adjust. Notice how I'm clicking up here in this bar to adjust that number, backspace, and change that to a 5. So I went up by 2 cents, hit enter, and now you'll notice that I get to a final balance of 0. The last thing that we want to do is add in the totals. So totals. And then we typed these formulas before. We want to do a sum. So in our payment, we'll hit equals, and we'll use sum, parenthesis. We'll click the first cell that we want, colon, and then we'll click the second cell that we want, end our parenthesis, and hit enter, and it will sum that particular column. So we see how much we paid. Next, we'd like to see how much we paid in interest. So equals, sum, parenthesis, click on the first cell, colon, click on the last cell, end our parenthesis, and hit enter. And we'd like to see the loan being paid off, so the balance reduction. Again, we'll put equals, sum, parenthesis, click on the first cell, colon, click on the last cell, end our parenthesis, hit enter, and we see we paid back exactly the $1,000, and we paid back the interest as well. And so that's how we create an amortization schedule for a debt. This is a really nice piece if you want to set up a debt with a friend or loan some money from your parents and pay it back, and you can just show them how you're paying back the loan with the payments each month.